In the age before time, when shadows ruled the skies, a single blade forged from starlight held the power to bind darkness. But when the blade was lost, the kingdoms fell into despair. A prophecy foretold that a hero would rise to claim the star blade and banish the shadows forever. But who could this hero be? Scene 2. The hero awakens. Small village nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering trees. It was a place where life moved to the rhythm of the seasons, where children laughed and the elderly shared tales of ages past. But beneath this idyllic surface, a sense of foreboding lingered, a premonition of a darkness stirring in the heart of the land. In the center of the village stood an ancient oak, its branches gnarled like the fingers of a wizened old man. Beneath this tree sat Elder Myra, her eyes closed, her face etched with worry. She had felt the disturbance in the ancient magic that wove through their world, a disturbance that signaled the return of the shadows. Her gaze fell upon a young man named Theron, tending to his herb garden with gentle care. He was known throughout the village for his kindness and healing touch. Far from the image one might conjure of a legendary hero, as if sensing her thoughts, Theron looked up. His emerald eyes, usually brimming with mirth, now held a questioning gaze. Mira rose, her steps slow but resolute. She approached Theron, her expression grave. "Theron," she began, her voice raspy with urgency, "you must come with me." Intrigued yet sensing the gravity of the situation, he followed her into the depths of the whispering woods. The forest, once a place of joy and solace for the villagers, now loomed ominously before them. Twisted branches clawed at the sky, and the undergrowth rustled with unseen movement. As they ventured deeper, the air grew heavy with an unnatural stillness. The birdsong had ceased, replaced by an unsettling quiet. Finally, they reached a clearing bathed in the silver glow of the rising moon. "Theron," Mira began, her voice barely a whisper, "I have something to tell you about the star blade." She explained the prophecy, the blade that had shattered in the sky. Each fragment now corrupting the land it touched, controlled by the very shadows it was meant to vanquish. The pieces were scattered across the kingdom, hidden in places of great magic, guarded by creatures of myth and legend. Each piece that the darkness claimed pushed the land further into shadow. Only the summoning of the full blade could banish the darkness and restore balance. "And you," Theron, Mira continued, her gaze intense, "you are the hero spoken of in the prophecy. You must find the star blade before the shadows consume the light entirely." Hope flickered in Theron's eyes but quickly faded. "But Elder Mira," he protested, "I'm just a simple healer. I know nothing of battles or quests." Mira placed a hand on his arm, her eyes filled with conviction. "Every hero begins as a nobody, Theron. The blade will choose, not blood or birthright, but courage and a pure heart. And I believe you have both." Scene 3. The journey begins. As dawn painted the sky with hues of rose and gold, Theron set out on his journey. Guided by Mira's cryptic hints and the whispers of the wind, he walked forth, determined to fulfill his destiny, though fear gnawed at his resolve. Through sun-dappled glades and by babbling brooks, he walked. The forest seemed to watch him with ancient knowing eyes. Chanting ruins hinted at a past filled with magic and mystery. Strange, beautiful creatures stirred in the undergrowth, some friendly, some wary, all bound by an oath to protect the balance of the land. With each passing day, the world grew stranger, more wondrous, and more perilous. Trees whispered secrets in the breeze, and Theron learned to listen. Rivers shimmered with otherworldly beauty, guiding him with their silent wisdom. Mysterious creatures emerged from the shadows, testing his courage and compassion. One evening, as the sky blazed with the colors of sunset, Theron found himself perched on a moss-covered stone overlooking a vast chasm. Before him lay a path forward, but it was a path fraught with peril. A raging torrent roared below, and the bridge that once spanned the chasm was now a shattered ruin. Just then a majestic griffin landed gracefully on a rock nearby. Its golden feathers shone in the fading light, and its piercing gaze seemed to see through Theron's facade. In a voice as deep and resonant as rolling thunder, the griffin spoke. "So the whispers have brought you here, seeker of the Starblade. But the path ahead is fraught with danger. Would you brave the chasm?" Theron met the griffin's gaze, his heart pounding in his chest. "I have come too far to turn back," he replied, his voice echoing with newfound strength. The griffin regarded him for a long moment, then spread its mighty wings. "Very well," it said. I will guide you across the chasm, but beware. The bridge is treacherous and the current swift. One false move, and you will be lost to the swirling depths." With that, the griffin launched into the air, soaring over the chasm. Theron, gripping a shard of the fallen bridge, followed as best he could, the griffin's keen eyes scanning the path ahead. As Theron scrambled over the rubble, the griffin suddenly swooped down, its talons extended. In a heartbeat, it had snatched him from the brink of disaster, setting him safely on the firm ground beyond the chasm. "You are not yet ready to wield the star blade," the griffin boomed, "but perhaps you are braver than you believe. Prove it to me, and I will lead you to the next piece of the blade." Scene 4. The final confrontation. Days turned into weeks, and Theron journeyed across the land, seeking the remaining fragments of the star blade. With each piece he recovered, the darkness receded a little, and the land renewed itself, blooming with life and laughter. But the final piece lay hidden within the crumbling walls of a forgotten castle atop a windswept cliff. The fortress was a haunting silhouette against the stormy sky, a testament to a forgotten age of magic and might. Now, however, it was a crumbling ruin, battered by the relentless winds and waves. As Theron neared the castle, the storm grew in intensity. The wind screamed through the crumbling towers, and waves crashed against the rocks below, sending spray high into the air. Lightning flashed, momentarily illuminating the scowling visage of a cloaked figure standing on the highest tower, silhouetted against the tempest. This was Malcor, the bringer of shadows, who had stolen the Starblade and fragmented it long ago. Malcor raised his arms, and the fragments in his grasp blazed with an eerie, corrupted light. "Foolish hero," he echoed, his voice a hollow mockery of its former self. "Do you come to challenge me? Very well. Let the storm rage, for I am the darkness, and the night is mine forever." Theron raised his own sword, its starlight gleaming in defiance. "No. Malcor," he cried, his voice ringing with power. "The blade belongs to the light, and the dawn is at hand." And then it happened. The fragments in Malcor's grasp fused into a single, brilliant sword of starlight. In Theron's hand, the power surged through him, invigorating, exhilarating. With a warrior's cry, he charged forward, his sword ablaze. A fierce battle ensued, a clash between light and darkness, hope and despair, courage and fear. Lightning cracked, illuminating the fury of the storm and the ferocity of the fight. Waves crashed, echoing the tumult of the battle, as hero and villain dueled atop the storm-tossed keep. Finally, as the first rays of sunlight pierced through the clouds, Theron struck a decisive blow. Malcor faltered, his form flickering like a dying ember. "No," he whispered, his voice devoid of its echoing menace. "The blade." His form dissipated into the shadows, leaving behind only the echo of his defeat. As the clouds parted and the sun climbed higher in the sky, the land sighed in relief. The storm subsided into a gentle breeze, the waves calmed into soothing murmurs, and the forest rustled with the whispers of delight. The shadows that had crept across the land receded, revealing fields and meadows bathed in sunlight once more. The Starblade, reunited and radiant, hummed softly in Theron's hand, a beacon of hope and a symbol of the dawn of a new era. Scene 5. Resolution. In the days that followed, peace returned to the land. People once shrouded in fear and despair, now celebrated with joyous festivals, giving thanks to their hero and the return of the Starblade. Theron, once an unassuming healer, was now known throughout the land as Theron, the Starlight, a beacon of hope and courage. But Theron remained humble. He knew that while the shadows had been banished for now, they could return. Legends spoke of a time when the shadows would rise again, but also of a hero who would be there to meet them. And so Theron trained, honing his skills and gathering allies, always watchful, always ready. For in the quiet moments, when the cheers of the crowd had faded and the weight of his destiny pressed heavily on his shoulders, he knew that his journey was far from over. The legend of Theron the Starlight had just begun. And so the age of starlight dawned and the land flourished as never before, bathed in the warm glow of the reunited Starblade. Yet ancient wisdom whispered that when the shadows stir once more, the starlight would be there to meet them. For legends tell not just of victories, but of the unending vigilance required to safeguard the light. As we look to the heavens, we see the remnants of a shattered sword. These are the shards of the starlight blade, scattered among the constellations, Should the darkness ever threaten to engulf our world once more, these celestial fragments will reunite, granting power to a chosen hero to banish the shadows and restore balance. For as long as the heavens hold these shards, hope shall endure. The end.